The ideas, procedures, and suggestions contained within this podcast are not intended as a substitute for consulting with a medical professional. All matters regarding your health and fitness require medical consultation and supervision. Welcome to the Warrior Wellness Podcast, a podcast for military members, veterans, and first responders focusing on fitness, health, nutrition, and biohacking. Our mission with this podcast is to introduce America's heroes to lifestyle habits and hacks that will help them live healthier, happier lives, and in turn, be fit enough to continue their support of their communities and country.
Okay, Ardra Jones, thank you so much for being on the Warrior Wellness Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and to support you, one of my favorite people.
Ardra is definitely one of my favorite people, and we've been talking about doing an episode like this for forever, and we finally got to it. So Ardra, we're going to be talking about all things breathwork today. Ardra is an expert breathwork practitioner, and so she does this for people and helps them kind of figure out their own breathwork practices. But I'm sure a lot of you guys out there have some misconceptions about breathwork, so we're definitely going to address that and talk about maybe some health benefits. I'm going to talk about mental health and physical, biological health. Ardra's going to give you some kind of anecdotal information about what she's seen when in her practicing in her own personal practice and with her clients. So let's get started, shall we?
Yes, let's do this.
So breath work, there's all sorts of different techniques. So, when we just say in general breath work, what the heck does that mean? Because we're always breathing. So aren't we always just doing breath work anyway?
Well, I've studied with David Elliott, and he describes breath work as for Westerners, because it's hard for us to calm our minds because we have everything open. Let's just start there. I have an iPhone, I have my Zoom, I'm watching my dog, and my earbuds are charging next to me, and I'm listening out for the ring. So we're always moving and always, shaking. What is it called? We're, help me with that word, Stephanie. Multitaskers. Westerners are multitaskers. So breath work is like a live meditation. So you get to concentrate on the breath. The pranayama, breath work is that you focus on that instead of trying to be still. It is so hard to be still. So it is an active live meditation.
Yeah. And I like to say we're overstimulated other than, multitasking, because nobody can multitask very well. There's very few people. Research shows like even when we think we're being productive, we're actually not. So I like to say, instead of using the word multitask, overstimulated, because we are definitely overstimulated.
Way overstimulated with our Starbucks in our right hand. Yes.
Yes. And with an energy drink and a coffee. Double fisted. I've got my pre-workout going in here. So definitely stimulation.
That is the best stuff ever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're overstimulated, we're multitasking, we're distracted. We naturally breathe, obviously, like otherwise we'd be dead. But right. I catch myself all the time. And I think if people just kind of if you weren't so distracted by everything going around you, I think people would catch themselves as well, like I do, holding my breath constantly throughout the day. Like, I don't know how many minutes I spend in a day. I wish somebody could just time me and watch me in one day, how many minutes I spend holding my breath.
And I hope I could find it and send to you. There is a reel or a TikTok, whatever you want to call it these days. And the school practitioner was talking to a toddler that was having a toddler fit. What do they call those? Not a panic attack, but a tantrum.
A tantrum. Yeah.
Listen, tantrum. Was having a tantrum. The baby was holding her breath. Blonde curls, red face, holding her breath. And he said, baby, just breathe. And she did a breath, a deep breath. He said, now inhale. And she inhaled and exhaled, and she exhaled. And then she was able to get her sentences out. I think we all need to just shut up and breathe instead of holding our breath before you react, before you send that passive aggressive email, before you send that text, before you let your boss know what you really have on your mind, we really need to shut up and breathe and not hold your breath, because that is built up anxiety, that is built up negativity. Your blood flow stops, the toxins are going off through your body and they're building up, and the brain's like, okay, it's time to explode. So we need to shut up and breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. And it not only is it, and we'll talk about the benefits of that, not only is it great for reducing anxiety and all the physiological arousal symptoms of anxiety, which we'll talk about here in a minute,
Right.
but it prepares us for the hard things in life, because there will be hard things. Like we will have incidences, we will have confrontations, we will have maybe something, traumatic happen. So it prepares us to have the tools for managing breath, to be able to better be prepared and to work through those situations, so we don't end up. So here's where I see other people on the other side of this disaster waiting to happen. As a mental health counselor, it's funny, we're just talking about this right now, because I just had a session with someone who had his first panic attack on a plane, right? So, and then it becomes, instead of being afraid of what triggered the panic attack, you actually become fearful of the panic attack. So
Right.
it's this freaky spiral that happens. Is it doesn't matter what it is that triggered it. At this point, you're afraid to have another one. So if you're prepared with the tools to prevent a panic attack from happening, you don't get stuck in that feedback loop like a lot of people do when they have their first panic attack.
And speaking to someone that flies, well, I fly all the time. Where's Waldo? Where's Audra? Different times of the week. I'm speaking of flying, and that panic attack he had, it wasn't just a panic attack. Now you have that social anxiety. Everybody's looking at me. Okay, they're going to throw me off the plane. The pilot's going to come over the intercom system and tell me this, calm down. Someone's going to pull a gun on me. I mean, you build up this story during a panic attack, like you just said, that now there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to run. There's nothing to do. Finally calm yourself down. I don't know if it's over vodka, gin, tequila, all three, right? To calm him down. And now, like you just said,
that's not what I'm recommending to my client. Let's just be clear.
But now you're exactly. He's like, okay, now I got to go home. How the hell am I going to get on this plane and not have another panic attack?
Yeah.
This is like over bridges. We have in Jacksonville, we're the city of 7 bridges. I used to be scared as hell to drive over a bridge. I would clench the steering wheel, clenched my teeth, and hold my breath. So it's not to have the stigmatism of having another panic attack. It's learning how to work through that.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the physiological and why that's so important here in a second. But at first, I want to talk about what are the common misconceptions about breath work. I'm sure people have just misunderstandings of what this is all about. When you suggest breath work, or when you're talking about somebody about, hey, maybe this tool would be helpful, what are some questions or misconceptions that you deal with?
Well, first, it's woo. It's one of those woo things, but they've been doing breath work, or we've been doing breath work. Humans have been doing breath work for hundreds of years. Okay. And it's not woo. For me, it's not a woo thing. It is an emotional stabilizer, right? And for me, it's basically just an emotional stabilizer and to get me ready for the day. There's many types of breath work techniques that you can complete, and none of them are wrong. One of the misconceptions is thinking that there's a right and wrong technique. That is not the case. The right technique is going to work for you.
Yeah. And another one that I encounter and I jump on right away, because I use this a lot with my mental health counseling clients, is whatever experience you have is the right experience.
Exactly.
So there's no expectation of you have to get in this blissful state of Zen and everything's right with the world and your problems go away, immediately, and you're super focused and you're not distracted, and you're not fidgeting, and you're not thinking about what am I going to have for lunch next? Oh, I got to do the laundry. Whatever experience you have is the right one.
Whatever experience you have is the right one. I mean, there are times that I'm doing my to-do list in my mind, and that's when I have to pause and, say to myself, we're not focusing on this right now. We're focusing in on the breath. Okay. Another misconception is that you have to be sitting down. You have to be laying down. You have to be in a meditative state. Sometimes you use breath work to get you out of a state, out of an anxiety state, out of a reactionary state, right? And there are times that you just use breath work just to cool down and focus on your day.
Introducing the new Fireteam Whiskey Fitness and Nutrition app. Everything you need to get fit and lose weight right at your fingertips. Choose from hundreds of fitness videos and fitness plans. Search for workouts by fitness level, equipment available, or body part focus. Choose from several nutrition plans and customize your macros. Your entire fitness, nutrition, and wellness plan all scheduled on your calendar. Text a trainer anytime for tips, tricks, and motivation. Achieve your fitness and health goals with the Fireteam Whiskey app. Go to www.fireteamwhiskey.com to get 2 weeks of results for free.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by that because of this, all of these issues that we just talked about. And, I've heard so many people say, well, I've tried, meditation, I've tried breathing, and I just don't feel like I'm very good at it. And, it's like, okay, well, guess what? Then that means you're doing it right. Because I don't know anybody who practices meditation or breathing techniques who don't admit to the fact that, hey, man, I spend such a small amount of time of that time in kind of like that Zen state. It's right. Like, okay, I did it for 20 minutes. I was probably in that state for like 30 seconds, a minute, right. 2 minutes.
Just get to the 30 seconds. If you could just get to that 30 seconds of well-being, of that aha moment, of that cool down moment, that I met myself moment, just get to that moment. And breath work can be done in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. I haven't quite gotten to an hour yet, but I'm working on that one when I find an extra hour. But there's no expectations, there's no limitations when it comes to breath work. You have to use what works best for you.
Yeah. So, that's a big, hopefully a takeaway for people listening is, even if you feel like you're struggling, you're still getting some sort of benefit. So don't worry about being perfect or spending the entire 20 minutes in this beautiful, blissful state. Hey, that'd be awesome if it happened. Most likely it's not. But, at least if you're even getting 30 seconds in that 20 minutes, then you got something out of it that was beneficial to you. So just keep working at it. Not every time it's going to be great. Last night, I meditate before and do breath work before I go to bed. Man, my mind was all over. I was just anxious. I probably got like 2 seconds of good, but you know what? Then I got my 2 seconds.
You won for 2 seconds. That's called winning to me. If you won for 2 seconds, here's your badge, right? Yeah. For people like us, we travel everywhere. So I'm always in a different time zone. Mm-hmm. I'm in a different elevation. I'm in a different bed. I make a joke that I have slept with more strangers than anybody because I sleep on the airplane. that affects your psyche. It affects your everyday because there's no normalization. We have mothers, we have fathers trying to get the kids to school, while talking to your boss, trying to work from home while having the plumbers on the side and your boss is on the screen. I mean, there's so many things, so many active things that we're going through in life. If you could just take that 5 minutes to breathe, to shut up and breathe. I think we're going to rename it the shut up and breathe, right?
Yeah.
We need to do that. If you just give yourself that 5 seconds to get to your 2 seconds of bliss, you're gradually going to be able to grow that. And it's going to be such a great implementation of your life. What I know when I haven't completed my 30-minute breath work, and I do 30 minutes almost every day, but if I go 2 or 3 days without doing it, my body will tell me it's time for you to breathe. It's time for you to slow it down, girl, and breathe.
Yeah. And I want to talk about just before we talk about the different kinds of breath work, I want to talk about what's going on in the biology. So yes, we are talking about hopefully, intervening in all that, busyness and distractedness and kind of calming things down in our brain and the overstimulation like we talked about. But also you are getting like physiological changes that are happening when you are doing breath work and meditation. So there's tons of research out there that's done studies on, breath work and the benefits of breath work. Some of the biology that's going on is you actually are helping your body alkalize your blood pH.
Yes.
Because of you're reducing that inflammation, that stimulation, that fight or flight response, all of those, cortisol and those hormones and adrenaline that are being triggered because you're so, high stressed. That's calming down. So you're able to get that anti-inflammatory effect going on in the body. So that's awesome for a whole lot of reasons. And then you're also able to allow your body to, not only because you're suppressing the production of that cortisol and adrenaline, you're
Right.
able to allow your body to feel like it's okay to start producing those feel-good hormones, like dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin. So you see all of these balancing benefits of calming things down because of this just overstimulation that our biology wasn't built to go through constantly like we are nowadays.
Stephanie, every scenario you brought up, it just makes me so sad that we are there as humans, that we're actually, the reason it alkalizes and the reason it allows the dopamine is because we're not breathing.
Mm-hmm.
We're really not breathing. We have
Mhm.
not, I can't tell you today personally if I've taken a deep breath, besides my morning meditation, because I've been hitting that to-do list. I've had the dog, I've had to clean the refrigerator. I had to go here, I had to go to the storage unit. So I can't tell you that I've really taken a breath.
Mm-hmm.
That one breath, I felt the tingles go down my arms, right?
Yeah.
So that's what alkalizes, and it also helps with your gut health as well. We're
Yep.
holding everything in because we ain't fucking breathing. No one's breathing, so nothing's moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the oxygen, of course, we want more oxygen in our blood, but if we're only taking like these half shallow breaths, we're getting half the oxygen that we need in our bodies. So obviously that's bad.
It's horrible for your brain function. It's horrible for your circulation. I can guarantee you, basketball players, football players, violinists, every sport, every musician, even chess players, they will teach you that if you do not breathe properly, you will not succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you just said that about athletes. And that's how I introduce this concept to especially my male clients, because it's like, of course, it's got that stigma. So of the woo woo and this is feminine and, so that's how I introduce this to a lot of my clients, my mental health clients is, hey, you know what? You're an athlete. Like, either you were in the military, you're a first responder, or, like I'm working with a swimmer. I'm like, dude, you're already a master of your breath. You're an athlete. You use these techniques already when you're doing your sport or when you're a soldier or when you're, so I'm like, all we got to do is get you to kind of be aware of those techniques you already had in place and move them to these areas of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I call that pulling in the intention, what is it? Breathe in joy. If I want to have more of a joyous moment, like you said, I'm breathing in that intention. If I want to be spectacular in this portion of the love and relationship and family, portion of my life, my intention is I want joy in that, right? So for your athletes, for the first responders, they go through a lot on their body, but if they say, I want to calm or bring calmness, that's their intention. So their intention is calm. My intention is joy. I focus that in the middle of my brain. I just want to bring in joy. And that's what I focus on when I'm breathing, right? And when I wake up, I'm more joyous, or you can wake up.
Yours is like so pretty and nice. Mine is like not.
I know. I'm the flower. I'm like,
Yeah.
my little like Stephanie. She's like, here's my ball cap. Let's go.
Girl, I'm like, let's get through this shit. I'm breathing in, getting through this shit. Okay, breathe in, not punching somebody in the face right now. Oh yeah, look how peaceful I am. I'm not punching someone. Oh, this
That's
is
your
great.
intention. I don't want to punch somebody in the mouth today. Let me take a deep breath. Now, how can I help you?
Yeah. But whatever works, right? I mean, whatever mantra you want to come up with.
Right. Make it work for you. There are no rules and regulations. It's what works for you.
Yeah. One of my ones that I love the one word thing. So during my, especially like high intensity interval runs or workouts where I'm just like, my heart rate's gone super high. Like I do that to regulate my breath. I think of the word effortless. And it's like, I feel like I'm breathing in effortless. Like this is effortless. Like in my mind, I'm like, fuck, this is fucking hard. My body hurts. My lungs are screaming. I want to stop. Right. But if I can breathe in effortless, 9 times out of 10, actually, I've kind of mastered this technique. I get to that place and then I'm like flying, doing sprints, and I look like a psychopath because like I have a big smile on my face and I am literally not even out of breath. I'm like, yeah, this is like a walk in the park, and I'm like going at a 9 on the treadmill, like flying.
I have to tell you, that's your focus, that's your affirmation, but that's also your meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Effortless. That's part of your meditation. And once you get into that zone, we all know that high zone when you're working out, you can't feel anything, you can't see anybody. Like you said, it's effortless. You have just done a meditation.
Yeah.
An active meditation.
Yeah. So, you don't have to, like Ardra just said, you don't have to be laying down like in a home, like sitting cross-legged in a beautiful, like spa-like environment with,
those.
Yeah, those are great. If you could do that, fine. But, it doesn't have to be that. You can find these moments anywhere you are.
Yes. Yeah. You can shut up and breathe anytime you need to.
We're going to make that and we're going to sell those t-shirts on your website. Shut up and breathe.
Shut up and breathe is going on the website, baby. He's going to make it.
TM. Okay. Trademark.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the different techniques, because I'm sure there's a bazillion of them. So let's just talk about a few of them that you feel like maybe people should know about and maybe give a try.
Are you fire team ready? Try the Fire Team Whiskey Spec Ops Keto Joe Shake. The Keto Joe Shake is a medium-chain triglyceride MCT shake derived from non-GMO coconut oil. It contains 17 grams of MCT, 10 grams of high-quality whey protein, and no sugar. It's sweetened with stevia leaf, so you can keep those carbs low and shred that body fat. 25 milligrams of caffeine to give you extra energy for the gym or your busy day. Fire Team Whiskey has been supplying military members deployed all over the world with Spec Ops shakes for over 3 years. Fire Team Whiskey Spec Ops shakes are fueling the fight. Whether you are just trying to lose a few pounds or trying to get that extra edge in the gym, the Fire Team Whiskey Spec Ops shakes are for you. Make sure to stock up now and support our efforts to raise funds for Team RWB, our nonprofit partner that provides social support and fitness events for our nation's heroes.
So we have coherent breathing, and it's when one breath at a rate of 5 breaths per minute. This is one of the most simplest exercises that can be done anywhere at any time. And you do it by 5 breaths. So it's like a 5 by 5. We also have box breathing, which is very, very popular. It's also known as square breathing. So it's, or 4x4x4x4 breathing. It's a technique that helps you focus on taking a slow, deep breath. I think you do those, the box breathing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's used by a wide variety of professionals and athletes for stress reduction and things of that nature. Okay, I've been trained by David Elliott to do pranayama, yoga, breathing. When it's 2 deep inhales, one from the belly, then we bring it up in the chest, and then we exhale. So it's a, that is, to me, that's like music, and I can already feel my chest and my heart open up when I do that. That's probably what because I've been introduced to that breathing. It's one of my favorites, but it's a great relaxation meditation, as well as an intention setting meditation.
The box breathing, I want to go back to that one. So that one is one that I use a lot with my military veterans and first responders and mental health counseling, because it's also coined as the term tactical breathing. And again, it's going back to the natural ways we've been trained as professionals. I was taught that technique unknowingly when I was in boot camp and we were learning how to fire rifles.
Oh.
So for those of you out there who have, never experienced that, but the veterans know exactly what I'm talking about. So when you start learning how to fire a rifle, you're not given bullets for weeks. Like, you just have a rifle, right? You're getting familiar with it. You're basically sleep with it. It's around you 24/7. It's always with you. So you're getting comfortable with it. But what we practiced over and over and over again for hours, I remember the different stances, so we'd be in the prone position, which is on our belly. You're holding your rifle, right? You've got your sight, you're looking down the sight. All you do for hours at a time is learn how to breathe and hold that rifle as steady as possible. We were taught tactical breathing. It was inhale, hold, pull trigger, exhale. And I remember one of my drill sergeants put a quarter on the end of the sight on the front of the rifle. And we had to do that breath. Inhale, hold, pull trigger, exhale. And that's that tactical box breathing. And that quarter did not move. Even when you pulled the trigger, you were so steady because you're holding your breath for that 4 count and then exhale down. So it wasn't, like that's what most people think to do when they're firing a weapon is you're anticipating the kickback, right? So it's that pause in the middle. You're not moving around. You're not jerking your rifle. You're not anticipating the kickback. So I did not know that was box breathing that I learned all those years ago. So this is why I like to use that one specific technique with my military veterans and mental health counseling.
But you have to give notice that that was probably the calmest position you were ever in when you were learning to shoot the rifle, because you were the most focused, intent was set. Had your eye on the ball, everything was steady, your heartbeat was steady.
Oh yeah.
Eye levels were steady, cortisone, gut health, everything was steady. And now it's time for you to release, right?
Yeah.
The most exhilarating moment once you had to release, and it was like, oh shit, let's do that again,
Right. And it naturally helps you to calm down, right? Just, and imagine like being in a firefight. I mean, just talk about overstimulated, right? Like you have so many distractions. People are screaming, people are yelling, like noises and gunfire. And it's like, you can't even hear yourself. And then you're breathing hard and you've got all the stimulation. It's like, you have to be able to focus, steady, push down that physiological arousal, make good decisions in that moment. And I think just all of that is so beneficial. So, these are, if you feel like, and you're listening and you're a guy and you're like macho and you're like, ooh, this is woo. It totally isn't. because this is something that police officers use, firefighters use, military members use. This is for people who are out there doing the hard damn things in this world to help them do their jobs better and make great decisions while under immense pressure.
I couldn't agree more, but I also want to piggyback on that and let you know it's also great for pain management. So the firefight, so the combat wounds, the fighting, all the things. It allows your body to release endorphins, reducing sensitivity and increasing pleasure. So breath work and the box breathing is part of that as well.
When you look good, you feel good. Guys, it's about time you threw away those stained t-shirts and those baggy, saggy shorts and upgrade your gym swagger. Zaya Active is the official workout wear of Fireteam Whiskey. Go to bit.ly/ZayaFTW and check out all the styles for women, men, and kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's so many physical and mental benefits to this. I mean, this is something that everybody should be doing. It's free, right? Like you don't have to pay anybody to breathe.
Unless you're on track, it is free to breathe.
Right.
Standing up, sitting down, on your elbow, on your knee, we can breathe.
So, we talked about, I mean, the list of benefits is immense. I mean, obviously we know there's, and I've seen I was looking up like stuff yesterday, just preparing for this interview. I mean, there's balanced blood pressure, there's more time in deep sleep, reduction of PTSD and trauma symptoms, stronger respiratory functioning, better immune system, better hormonal balance. Yeah. All of that and so many more. I mean, there was just lists of like hundreds of benefits, but are there any cons? Is this something that are there some kind of things that people should be aware of when they start this process or attempt to start doing breath work?
I would say the con is trying to be perfect at it. That's the only con. You can't mess up breath work because you already know how to breathe. Right? It's having your breathing technique and what your, again, I keep using the word intent, and what your intent. Screaming toddler, let me take a deep breath before I address this toddler, right? Hectic day, I've traveled all day, now I'm in my hotel room. Let me lay down and breathe and bring sense back to my mind, right? At a surgery, I want to get off my pain meds. Let me breathe through this so I can eventually get off my pain meds and not have to take so many. I would say the only con is not doing it and thinking that you have to be perfect. That's the only con I can think of.
Yeah. And, and also I think just to be fair, like people who may have already some respiratory issues, maybe they're still recovering from COVID and have some lung scarring, or like emphysema, early stage like COPD or something like that. Or if you already suffer from panic attacks, this might be something that you feel like would trigger a panic attack because you may feel like there's some similar things going on right before the lead up to a panic attack. So just be aware of your body, and you don't have to do the faster techniques like the, slow it down.
Yes, it's not a race. You definitely need to speak to your physician or your practitioner that you're working with for any mental health or in any physical health. But thinking that it's a race and thinking that you have to do it perfectly, I would not recommend, the breathing at all for someone that has anxiety or panic attacks. I would say, let's do a deep breath on 4, hold for 8, exhale on another 4, slowly, lovingly to yourself, and be kind to yourself. It's not a race. We're just trying to get into that Zen place and have a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. So just be aware of that. You don't have to do these, hyper kind of fast techniques. slow it down, just, I find myself throughout the day, sometimes when I'm just feeling overwhelmed, Brad always says, oh, you're doing that face. Cause I do this. So if you're not watching the podcast, you're going to miss this face, but here's my face. I do.
Yes.
Like I'm blowing up a balloon. So my cheeks go out really puffy. So I take this super big inhale, like diaphragm breath. And then I pinch my, mouth together and blow out my cheeks and slow my exhale down. And for some reason that I like that. I don't know why, just in the moment that helps. I saw that one specific technique somewhere. I can't remember what it was called, but that is one of the techniques.
Yeah. It's called the lymph pinching technique. And other practitioners, don't kill me on that one. I don't know all of them, but if you notice, how good did you feel after doing that one?
Oh yeah, because that's my in the moment one where I'm just like, I'm like, it's usually like when I see how many sessions I have that day and I'm like, how many through this day?
Google reschedule. Yeah.
All right. So why would somebody hire a breathwork person to help them?
To hold space for you, to watch over you, right? I believe while in session, I'm able to speed it up with my clients. And I know when to bring it down. I know when to stop and pause and breathe in through your nose when you start getting jittery and it's too much energy, because it brings so much energy. It brings so much oxygen. It's like a B12 shot right to the bloodstream when you're breathing in all that oxygen. And sometimes your practitioner needs to slow you down and help you go deeper to control that nervous energy. And again, just to hold a safe, loving space for you and to watch over you.
Okay. Yeah. And it, just like with when you hire a personal trainer or a counselor, it just kind of forces you to set aside that time, right? Which 9 times out of 10, that really is just the only reason why you hired anybody to, like a coach, to do anything. Right. It just forces you to set aside the time. Accountability
is everything, especially us, 10 things on our schedule. I use Google and Outlook as my accountability coach, and I use my breath work to get into my day. So yeah, definitely accountability. But go to someone that you trust. Go to someone that's going to listen to you and not just take your money. Okay. Have a consultation with that practitioner. Okay. See if they have any words of wisdom, if they have you write out your thoughts before you begin. With my, with my breath work, I like for people to fill out a worksheet. Like, why do you feel this way? How did you get there? My favorite question before we go into a breath work session is, how do you want to feel?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
How do you want to feel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to focus. I mean, because we can get so wrapped up in how do I feel, right? Rather than how do I want to feel?
Right?
Right.
That person cut me off in the on the freeway, right? They didn't give me my change back and the Starbucks line was too long. And my boss is sending me text messages and emails at the same time. But how do you really want to feel?
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of goes back to that effortless. It's like, find that word for the focus. How do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? Okay. We got it. You understand how you feel, right? Like you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out, you're pissed off, whatever it is. We got that. That's established, but how do you want to feel? And we can focus on that. Maybe just one word, even if it's established for 30 seconds of that 20-minute session, then like you said, it was a win.
It was a win. My word this year is freedom. So that's what I focus on when I'm breathing.
Yeah. Awesome. So how can people hire you for breath work? And, you don't have to do it in person. Obviously, if you are in Jacksonville, Florida, that'd be a great way to connect with Ardra and do something with her. She's also always involved in a lot of workshops, breathwork workshops. So, but how can, they can maybe work with you virtually if they are not local to Jacksonville?
Well, just like you just said, go to audrajones.com and we have a button that you sign up and I will meet with you virtually through Zoom. I say that jokingly because Stephanie does all my back end work for me. So if you want to do a virtual consultation, you just go to audrajones.com and we'll set it up. You will need to have a quiet space, or as quiet as you could possibly get. I prefer lying down when doing breath work. I don't know, there's something about the energy of it, but if you have to stand up or if you have to sit down, I prefer having your arm across your chest and one on your stomach so you can focus in if you're going to sit. But going back to the question, audrajones.com.
Awesome. And Ardra was so nice to actually create a 20-minute breathwork session. So that will be actually tacked on to the end of this podcast. So it will be absolutely free. You get a little taste of what you could do with Ardra live and how wonderful her breathwork sessions are. I've done definitely several of them with Ardra, and she's been so nice to come on some of our fitness challenges and lead our groups in the breathwork techniques and sessions. So that will be tacked on to the end of this podcast. You have the opportunity to take advantage of that. You can do it over and over and over again because it's free. But it'll just give you a kind of an idea if you've never done breath work, what the heck is it, and see what it's all about, or, Ardra's kind of technique and her style, and maybe you love it and you want to hire her to help you, set up some sessions and do this live with her. So make sure though, just for safety wise, if you are going to do the breath work, make sure you're not driving your car or, just make sure you take some time, hit pause, maybe come back to this if you're driving or whatever, and, find it maybe a safe, quiet space where you can go ahead and enjoy that and get the benefits. And then, let us know what you think and leave some comments under the podcast or the YouTube, whichever you're listening to this on, and let us know what you thought of Ardra's breathwork session. So thank you, Ardra, for coming on the Warrior Wellness podcast.
Anything for you, Stephanie. It was my pleasure. I can't wait to see everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, let's begin in a comfortable seated or lying down position. Make sure you are comfortable. Take a deep breath in on the count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale on 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Now this time, think of your intentions and take another deep breath in on 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Belly button to spine. Very good. Now we're going to bring Now let's begin the breathing. Begin using only your mouth. You can go as fast or slow as you want. 2 inhales, 1 from the belly, 1 from the chest, then exhale. You should feel your body starting to tingle through your hands and your arms. Continue to breathe. Breathe in all that you love and all that makes you happy. Continue to breathe.
Hey guys, thanks so much again for joining us on another episode of the Warrior Wellness Podcast. Please make sure to subscribe, follow, like, all that good stuff on your favorite podcast platform and on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and leave us a review while you're there, and if you screenshot your review, email it to info@fireteamwhiskey.com with your name and address. You'll be entered into our drawing for a prize for just leaving us a review. So let us know what we're doing great, what you'd like to hear more about, and please go ahead and just give us a follow and give us a honest review, especially on iTunes, because that helps us reach other military members, veterans, and first responders with this vitally important information about how to improve their health, fitness, and wellness. We will see you at the next episode of the Warrior Wellness Podcast. I am your podcast host, former Army Captain Stephanie Lincoln, founder of Fire Team Whiskey.